Hi everyone, welcome back to ForgeFlux Workshop. My name is Nick, and in today's video we're going to take a complete look at my Atlas Rover and break down exactly what went into building it. We're going to go through the hardware piece by piece, the motors, the Pixhawk, the Raspberry Pi, AI hardware, the LiDAR, the GPS, the cameras, the sensors, the power system, and everything else that makes this rover work. I'll show you what each component does, why I chose it, and most importantly, how much it all cost. And at the end of the video, we'll add everything up and see what the final price tag of this Atlas Rover really is. So let's get into it. So, hardware groups. We have the drive and motion. We got the Autopilot and the AI. We got the sensing, which is the LiDAR, the ultrasonic, the RTK navigation sensors. And we got the power and control, which is the batteries, the BECS, and the RC transmitter system. So let's start with the drive and motion. For the drive and motion, guys, I use the Pololu. These are basically high-end motors they use it in robotics. It's the model number 3206. It's a 12-volt gear motor. You can also attach a sensor to it to calculate distance and rotations and all that stuff, which I'm not using. So this is 6 of these are running on the actual Rover right now. Okay, then we have the Rover tires, standard stuff. Then we got the Metal Gear servos. Okay, the DS04 1MG. Then we have the Sabertooth 2x12. So this Sabertooth, basically, the reason why I chose this guy is I have 2 channels on it. So I got 3 motors on one channel, 3 motors on the other channel. Splits up the amperage. I think it's 15 amps per channel. That makes a total of 30 amps. And I'm using basically the Pixhawk to trigger it to go either back or front. Amazing company, Sabertooth. The other thing here we got is the 8-channel servo power mode. This one is the servo pack. So where we plug in the 12 volt, the 5 volt coming from the converter to this power node, and it provides basically power to all the servos on the Rover itself, all on the same ground. Autopilot and compute and vision. This is where most of my money went, basically, I would say. All right, the first thing first, we got the Pixhawk 6C Pro. This is the navigation system. I've got 2 GPSs on it right now. I'm waiting for the RTK GPS to come in. That one will give me down to the centimeter precision. These ones here give me down to the meters. I got 2 of them right now. I connect to about 30 GPSs. We have the communication that's done through the laptop and the actual Rover with the telemetrics. So that's all there. Plus you got the little computer you could see here. This is the actual brain of the system, and you have all the inputs that you can plug in, sensors, LiDARs, the Raspberry Pi, and so on. Then we got the Raspberry Pi. This Raspberry Pi is the Pi 5. This one here, the reason why I chose it is because I can run it on a battery pack. So the fact that I can run it on a battery pack is the first thing, that was the most important thing. It also does AI. So by adding the Raspberry Pi AI hat plus 2, that automatically allows me to run AI directly on the Rover, including real-time object detection, image recognition, tracking, computer vision, and other AI models locally without relying on the cloud, giving the Atlas the ability to see, understand, and react to its surroundings much faster. Then we have the Raspberry Pi AutoCam. It's a 5 megapixel camera. It plugs right into the Raspberry Pi. It's made for it, basically. And another thing that I got also for the Raspberry Pi is the actual active cooler. for it. So it's got the active cooler on it also. Next thing, we got the sensing and navigating. So let me explain to you here a couple of things so you guys could also get an idea. The LD Robot LD06 is fully compatible with the Pixhawk. It seems like they have the driver for it. It runs beautifully. I plugged it in. It detects objects the way it's supposed to. It works flawlessly. I also ordered the SlamTech at first. The SlamTech, it's not all there yet. They have a lot of issues with it. And a lot of people online complaining about the C1 not providing detailed accuracy on objects around it. Sometimes it goes berserk, finds all kinds of stuff. So I'm not too crazy about the SlamTech RP LiDAR C1. When you run it though on its own software, it works perfectly. Like it detects things the way it's supposed to, but when you plug it with the Pixhawk, it doesn't communicate properly. The other item was the Benoaki, the TF02 Pro. This is a forward-facing LiDAR distance sensor. Excellent. Works like it's supposed to work. It's fully compatible with the Pixhawk. It's even on the list when you go and install it. You can, it's a drop-down menu. You can select it. Very good choice if you're looking for that. But I switched from the Benoakis. Now I'm ordered 3 Robotics, the MB1242 sensors. I got 3 of these coming in. These are ultrasonic ranging sensors. I got 1 in the front and 2 on each side at corner angled, the left angle and right angle. I got both in the front. So we got 3 in front of the vehicle that can sense any type of object if by any chance the LiDAR misses it out, because a LiDAR normally is an horizontal line. So if the LiDAR, let's say, is about a foot off the ground, it's basically scanning anything that's above 1 foot. So these sensors are way below that 1 foot. So if they see something else, it will actually tell the rover what to do. The GPS. I've got 2 GPSs right now, the 8N and the 9N by what is it called? I think Holy Labs or something. Anyways, I got the new one from Holy Lab called RTK and Neo F9P. This one is down to the centimeter precision. It's been ordered. It should be coming in around September 11th. So once I get that, I'm going to be testing this out to see how precise it is. I did watch some videos online, and I'll tell you something. You'll see the difference right away when you're using one of these guys. Next, power and control and voice. So battery pack. I'm using a 3S 11 volt, 5200 milliamps. I'm using the Castle Creations BEC, which is a programmable voltage regulator. Give you an example. I was having issues with the Raspberry Pi. This voltage regulator by default is 5.25 output when it's plugged directly to your LiPo battery. It was crashing. My BlackBerry was crashing. My Raspberry, sorry, was crashing all the time. I didn't know what to do. I don't know what was wrong. Was the SD card? So what did I do? I figured out that it was dropping the voltage. Okay, because the Castle Creation BEC was set for 5.25, but with the whole load that I have going on, it was dropping to 4.9. So what I did is I bumped it up to 5.5, which is the next step up when you program this regulator. And since then, I've been stressing out the Raspberry Pi for 1 hour straight. No issues at all, no drops. So excellent product. This 15 amp BEC 2.0. It's even waterproof. Excellent choice. FlySky receiver, basically I don't use. I just have it in case of emergency to turn it off if the rover goes off-road or just doesn't go off track, I should say. I just turn off the auto mode and set it to manual. The interesting part coming up, that's going to be part of the AI. It's the new I think it's called RE or ReSpeaker AI4 mic. This is a 4-way microphone. It has noise reduction, and it is it picks up your voice perfectly. So if you're giving it commands like to the rover, it's excellent for that. So this will be plugging in with the Raspberry Pi. And then I just got a basic standard USB speaker that plugs into the Raspberry to listen out to what the Raspberry, what the actual Atlas has to say when you talk to it and stuff. So that's basically for the power and control voice. Then obviously we got the little parts, the 3D printing, the filaments, screws and you name it, adapters, wires, so much little stuff. Okay. Little gadgets here and there. You basically got to have a workshop when you work on these kind of things, because you need all kinds of different little parts. So if you don't have them, you always have to order them. So basically that is what I have now set up for the rover. Now let's go down to how much it costs me. I surprised myself, guys. You go crazy buying stuff, and it just adds up at the end. So let's go customer. So we start off 12-volt metal gear. We got 6 of these. Cost me $45 each. Total $275. You got Sabertooth, the 2x12, which is this guy right here. Cost me $110. Then we got Metal Gear servos, $15 each. Cost us $60 total. The Pixhawk, the actual complete kit, which is right here. Okay, with a complete kit. I don't have this part right here, but I have everything else. Paid $328 for that. Keep in mind, guys, all these parts are not just for the rover, okay? These are to make the rover function, obviously. But all these parts that you're going to be seeing here can be used on any other project. It's not like you're stuck with these. You just don't have to buy them again when you want to do another project. So it's not like I spent that much money. But yes, I did spend this much money because I had no choice. AI accelerator hat for the Raspberry Pi, $283. That's this guy right here. It's an adapter board that goes on top of the actual Raspberry. 4 microphone array. That's the one I just spoke to you about. This is this little round thing right here. This is plugs to the Raspberry Pi with a USB connector. Compact onboard speaker with voice audio. That's just a little basic speaker. I didn't put that on the image here. No, I didn't. No, I didn't put it anywhere. It's just a little compact speaker. Ultrasonic ranging sensors, the Maxbotic MB1242. This is right over here. I got 4 of these running. Okay. How much is that? 4 of those. Maxbotic 4 of those, $165. Those also, I got 3 of those, and I'm waiting for those to come in also. This also I'm waiting for. The RTK GPS positioning down to the centimeter, 331, that little antenna. This antenna right here, $331, but it gives you centimeter precision, which is, you pay the price. What else? Tires and wheels, basically $180, $30 a piece. 8-channel servo power distribution board, which is the Servo City, which is this guy right over here. That's the one I'm using. Servo City, where are we? Tires, wheels, Servo City 3. Okay, here. The Slamtech C1, the one that I didn't like because it goes crazy. This is the LiDAR. It's, first of all, is bigger than the LD06. So this one here, don't recommend for Pixhawk. I do recommend it runs very well with its software, but not with the Pixhawk. Next thing, 360 LiDAR, LD06 is the one next to it, which is this guy right here. Forward-facing T is F02 Beniwaki LiDAR distance sensor. This guy is this guy right here. Okay, that's the one. Very good. It runs perfectly. Does its job the way it's supposed to. Camera used for the live video and stuff for the Raspberry Pi. That is the little camera that you can buy for the Raspberry, which is this one right here. That's a 5 megapixel, by the way. That's not expensive, by the way. That thing is like 40, 50 bucks, 30 bucks. I think I put down, yeah, 30 bucks. Battery, $80. That's the three cell, 3S LiPo here, right here. The 550-200, 11.1 volts. I bought four of those, but I just put one down because, you know, that's how many the Rover needs. RC transmitter and receiver, which is $100, which is this guy, the Fly Sky i6 10 channel. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, wiring, connectors, switches, SD cards, 3D print material, small electronics, like all kinds of little stuff everywhere. $400. Grand total, guys, it adds up $3,200 Canadian to get this, you know, to get to this point. What I want to add to that, once I get all the AI stuff working the way I want it to and all, is going to be obviously the last purchase of my gadgets. It's going to be the 5G telemetry, where you can actually control the rover anywhere in the world through your computer, and have also live camera feed. So that's going to be something maybe I'm going to spend on, maybe, I don't know, next year. We'll see. Next, cost summary. So if we look at the cost summary, you know, drive system is about 17% of the total. We got the AI compute, 18% of the total. And you got the GPS RTK, which is 10% of the total, which comes out to $3,200. And then the product links, I have them all here. You guys want to pause your screen, look at them. They're all right here. Or just basically grab the names, screenshot the names, and Google them to get the exact part numbers if you guys, you know, want to build some kind of rover on your own, of your own. You know, it's not really a rover, it's basically a robot. It's an artificial intelligent robot. From coming down to it, with all the stuff that I'm going to be doing to it, this is going to be like very advanced in a way. So you're all going to be part of it. So you guys are going to see the next episodes coming up. And you know, as our last episode, we had we worked on the Raspberry Pi Zero, which was working great with the human person detection and stuff. But the Raspberry Pi Zero has so much power, and if you want to run full AI on it, it's not going to be able to do it. So that's why I upgraded to the Raspberry Pi 5 with the AI hat plus 2, which is fully AI compatible. So I can do a million more things with it. So that's it, guys. That's it for today's video. I just wanted to give you guys heads up on, you know, how much this rover cost me so far. I wasn't even aware it cost me this much until this morning when I sat down and started adding things up. You know, it's like you don't keep track of this stuff. You just order as you go, and the next thing you know, you're at $3,200. That's big. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed taking a closer look at the Atlas Rover, the hardware that went into it, and what it actually costs to put a project like this together. If you're interested in any of the components I used, I'll have a full parts list and links in the video description below, so you can check out everything for yourself. And remember, Atlas is far from finished. There's still a lot more coming as we continue adding AI, computer vision, voice control, autonomous navigation with AI, and a whole lot more. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe and follow along with the project. Thanks again for watching ForgeFlux Workshop. And as always, keep creating, keep learning, and keep building. I'll catch you guys on the next video.